hold the line.
One last battle to hold the line against the night.
The line must be drawn here. This far, no farther. Hold the line. No one gets through, no matter what.
Sir, what are your orders?
There's only one order, Lieutenant. We hold.
Incoming transmission.
Allied reinforcements have arrived from the west.
On Mojo 50 Radio. The Millennial Conservative Resistance begins right here, right now.
Oh, yes indeed, ladies and gentlemen, boys, girls, children of all ages, the new Millennial Conservative Resistance does indeed begin right here, right now, with you! You're listening to, and damn, I hope you're watching at the HoloNet on the mighty, the powerful Mojo 50 Radio. Today, it is Saturday. It is the 18th of July in the year of our Lord 2020. It is year 4 of the Trumpian age, baby! Wrapping up that first term. And we are in the midst of the plague. Welcome to the Plague Lands here in Arizona. It is the time of the Rona right here in Arizona. That's right. And want to open up our show today by telling you about the amazing, the wonderful AmericanPrideRoasters.com. 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 Make sure you get on there. It's historically great coffee. I want you to go on there. I want you to do it right now. Literally right now. Do it now. Get on there and check out the Betsy Ross blend. It is 1 pound, and you are running out of time to take advantage of this one. It is 1 pound of raspberry, vanilla, and blueberry. The ultimate red, white, and blue blend for $17.76. American Pride Roasters Coffee, the official coffee of Mojo 50 Radio. Celebrating one of our dearest traditions. A young widow convinced General George Washington to change the shape of the stars on the forthcoming American flag. Now we know that flag is Old Glory. We also know as the 13 stars on the HoloNet banner as well. Make sure you take advantage of that offer today. $17.76 for 1 pound of amazing raspberry, vanilla, and blueberry. The ultimate red, white, and blue coffee. It is the Betsy Ross blend from AmericanPrideRoasters.com. So, with all that aside, giving all due respect and love and adoration to our longtime friends and supporters over at American Pride Roasters Coffee, it is time! What a time is upon us! Holy crap. We need to talk about Civil War II again.
Holy shit, dude.
Yeah, no kidding, Kyle. Holy... I thought we were done with this, didn't you? Didn't you think that we were getting done with this? That this was wrapped? No second Civil War. Trump won. 2016 was done, over with, boom. But alas, we are once again coming up upon election season, and just as it was in 2016, the most pivotal election potentially in American history is upon us. And why do we say that? We go to a story from the Triple J Hack. This is by James Pertill, posted on the 17th of June. This model forecast the U.S.'s current unrest a decade ago, and it now says Civil War. You know, it's funny. I was writing about the Civil Cold War, the Cold Civil War, the upcoming Civil War. Is the second Civil War inevitable, preventable, like for the last year? And people went, meh, 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 meh. More panic porn. Meh, 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 meh. kitties. Who the laughing now? Now look at all these stories. Look at all these stories we have to go through. You have The Street saying irreconcilable differences. Let's divide America in two. Forbes, Civil War 2020 2.0. The Boogaloo movement is a wake-up call. I said the boog is a trap. I did that like 2 months ago. Got a lot of flack for that. The Byline Times, is the United States on the brink of another civil war? The Independent, Michigan Trump Civil War. Okay, the Second American Civil War is underway, only this time it's not North versus South, John T. Bennett writes. NewEurope.eu, America's New Civil War II. Goes on. Prospect.org, writing about America's Civil War. Progressive.org, prepare for the upcoming Civil War, written by looters. Oh, I read this, and my head, I felt flames. Flames on the sides of my face, just burning, heaving breaths, flames and fire. If you've ever seen the movie Clue, you got that reference. If not, I don't feel any sorrow for you. You've missed out. And Madeline Kahn was a national treasure. Add to this. Today on Trends 24, monitoring Twitter trends around the world, but concentrating here on the good old US of A. Back about when I was getting into work, on Friday. What was trending on Twitter then? Oh, look at this. Portland. Fascist Trump. Gestapo. Yeah, crap like that was trending on Twitter here in the United States. Okay? Gestapo trending number 6 with 27,000. Number six. It stayed about there for most of the day. Then we found out about Ruth Bader Ginsburg, apparently still having cancer and still insisting on sitting on the Supreme Court bench at 87 BFing years old. But all day long, the Gestapo. What's that all about? That's about federal agents using unmarked vehicles and unmarked tactical uniforms, despite in the videos I saw, they clearly had police emblazoned upon them, but not specifying what branch or department, have been detaining and arresting not protesters, but rioters. Okay? And if they were detaining protesters, it was an investigatory detention, and then they were let go. Now, the press on the left would have you believe that these people are being black-bagged a la V for Vendetta. Like something out of the communist pogroms of the Soviet Union. That these people are being disappeared into the night. That they're getting loaded up into Pinochet-style helicopter rides. I know many out there right now are saying, if only. But we have to remember that might doesn't make right. Right makes might. And we are on the right side of history as conservatives and as libertarians and as constitutionalists, and we must remain there. The police in Portland were failing to act. Therefore, federal authorities have stepped in and are attempting to restore the peace, as they are wont to do. Call me a bootlicker if you will. I have never tasted a boot, nor do I intend to. But there's a very simple saying. Around and find out. If you weren't there breaking the law, if you weren't there torching businesses, defacing public monuments, vandalizing and destroying property, confronting people violently in a threatening fashion. Do you honestly think the federal government would deploy law enforcement forces to your city? Do you have any idea how expensive that is? Do you have any idea how much trouble this is for them to do this? How much preparation, tactical and strategic planning was involved? Do you really think they would bother? Did they bother with Occupy Wall Street? No. Not generally. Did they bother immediately post-Trump's election with the Women's March? Quote-unquote Women's March. You remember Pussy Hats? Yeah. All that. I think we have pictures of Brad wearing one. Definitely Doc and probably Matlock. I really don't think they would have bothered. Secret police forces, USA Today says. Secret police forces? Spare me. Spare me. Really? Secret police forces? It's the secret police. It's the FSB. It's the KGB. It's the GRU. It's the Stasi, if you're up on your East German history. Bullshit. Sorry, I didn't catch that one. These were Department of Homeland Security. These were FBI. ATF, probably. Secret police? Where the hell are you? China? Are you a Uyghur who's being lined up at a detention center right now? A re-education center, I should say? When do those get rolled out for the dissenters? Or is that after Biden supposedly wins his election? Hmm? Because last time I checked, wrongthink and thought crime, it's not a cudgel that's used by the right. No! That is the left's favorite plaything. So who do you feel is more likely to start shipping us off to re-education centers? I want you to think real hard about that question. Who is more likely to ship you off for re-education? Maybe it's the group of people who've already started shipping innocent Americans off to re-education, except they don't call it that, do they? They call it sensitivity training. Isn't that right? Diversity training. Yeah. What the hell do you think that is? It is court-ordered behavioral modification. When a court orders you to go be retrained because your thought process is wrong, we have a problem. Apropos of nothing, my copies of Animal Farm and 1984 and Fahrenheit 451 arrived in the mail the other day. Going to be reviewing those texts for no particular reason at all, mainly because I'm looking for warnings. I may pick up a copy of Brave New World. As the secret police, the Stasi, the KGB, the Gestapo reign terror on Portland, according to the leftist media. Flat out unconstitutional, says BuzzFeed News. Federal officers in unmarked vans snatching people off the streets in Portland. They're snatching people and asking questions later, said one resident. Okay, number one, I'm going to zoom this in real big. So if you're watching on Mojo50, get out of the way, or on Facebook, you can see this. Do you see on his chest where it's clearly emblazoned in bold yellow print? Police? Secret police? My ass. If they were, and people were saying military police, why? Because he's wearing a camo tactical suit? because he's got a face mask on? We're required to have face masks on now, thanks to the Rona. I have to put on a face mask to walk in to a QT. If I want to get a can of Rockstar and a chili dog, I need to put a mask on. So you're going to tell me that police officers getting into aggressive contact with rioters, not protesters, rioters, shouldn't have a mask? By the way, if you haven't got to it already, get onto mojo50.com store. We have those wonderful masks. They call them gaiters, too, because they go around the neck. They're great. Pick one up today. But look at this discount Darth Vader looking mother. Look at this. He's got he looks like he's got a fanny pack with a carbiner. You see that? And what the hell is this? He's got some goggles on. He's got like a half-ass German army helmet here. Protesters in Portland, Oregon say federal officers, let me see here. Say federal officers deployed by President Donald Trump are increasing tensions and violating civil rights. But what the hell? Okay, this is a badly written sentence. Protesters in Portland, Oregon say federal officers deployed by President Trump are increasing tensions and violating civil rights by roaming the streets. Oh, they're roaming. They're roaming the streets, kids, like roving gangs. Oh, wait. That's what the rioters are doing. They're roaming the streets in unmarked vans, detaining people without probable cause. Okay, here's your probable cause. It's the middle of the night. You're walking around in a Darth Vader getup, and you're a couple of feet from a burning car or a business with a brick through the window. How's that for probable cause? I digress. Videos and witnesses detail how armed officers, you prefer unarmed officers, maybe like the UK, how armed officers outfitted in camouflage and lacking identifying information on their uniforms. Mira, están aquí. Dime, policía. For those who do not habla de español, look, it says police. Oh, my God. Videos of one viral video shared on July 15th shows two men in fatigues exiting an unmarked van, grabbing a person by their arms and escorting them to a vehicle. The officers remained silent as bystanders asked who they were and what they were doing. They don't owe you a damn explanation of who they are and what they're doing. It says police on their uniform. They're putting somebody in a vehicle. Odds are they're getting detained or arrested. Just putting that out there. Because cops don't put you in a vehicle, but for two damn reasons. Okay? The identity of the person detained in that video is unknown, but Portland resident Mark Pettibone told Oregon Public Broadcasting that he was detained on July 15th by a group of federal officers. He said they grabbed him off the street for no reason. Sure. Placed him in an unmarked van and used his hat to cover his eyes while he was transported to a federal courthouse. I just happened to be wearing black on a sidewalk in downtown Portland at the time. That's apparently grounds for detaining me. Yeah, dude, you might have matched the description of somebody who did some stuff. You seriously might have. And if you match the description, then they can detain you for investigative purposes, ask you questions, and then let you go. Which, to my understanding, is what happened. Juniper Simmons, a quantitative ecologist, underwater basket weaver, huh? Who volunteers as a medic at protests, told BuzzFeed News that federal officers forcibly took them into custody and separated them from their service dog. How much do I want to bet that's a bullshit service dog? For using chalk on the sidewalk in front of the federal building on July 10th. Simonis said they were sprayed with OC gas, a form of pepper spray, at close range. They jumped me and assaulted me without any legal or verbal communication to me about being under arrest or telling me to stop. So you're drawing in chalk on the sidewalk in front of a federal courthouse. And you're wondering why they grabbed you. They jumped me and assaulted me. Okay, Simonis, a trans woman, a man, who uses they, them pronouns, Biological man. It's a he. They're snatching people and asking questions later. On Friday, the American Civil Liberties Union Foundation of Oregon sued the Department of Homeland Security and the U.S. Marshal Service in what it says was one of many lawsuits the ACLU would be filing against federal authorities in Portland for their unconstitutional attacks on people protesting the police killing of George Floyd. The ACLU added DHS and U.S. Marshals to a lawsuit that had already been filed against local law enforcement agencies where a federal judge had already issued an order blocking local officials from dispersing, arresting, or using force against reporters and legal observers until October 30th. Note, reporters or legal observers, not rioters. Quote, what is happening in Portland is an unconstitutional nightmare, Vera Edelman, staff attorney for the ACLU's Speech, Privacy, and Technology Project, said in a statement. The ACLU will not let the government respond to protests against police brutality with still more brutality. So they scooped you off the street, they took you into a cell, they asked you a couple of questions, asked you if you wanted counsel, you said yes, and they let you go. Find me the brutality. Unless you can produce video of someone getting the shit beat out of them, you got nothing here. If they got roughed up a little bit getting into a van, well, there were some problems there on both sides, I think. This story goes on at great length. I'm not going to read the whole damn thing. You can check it out on the links in the description. Flat out unconstitutional? I don't think so. You know what is flat out unconstitutional? The National Popular Vote Interstate Compact, which is rearing its ugly head yet again. And as I discussed in a previous HoloNet episode, alluded to by luminaries such as Tim Pool, and I don't know, me, back in 2016, I called myself a luminary. National Popular Vote Interstate Compact really represents one of the greatest gateways into the aforementioned Second Civil War. We're not seeing the first shots right now. Oh no, baby. The fat lady hasn't sung yet. She's still warming up backstage. No. What we are starting to see are the cracks in the dam. What we're starting to see are the areas where the hammer will come down first and hardest. What we are starting to see are the battle lines coming, where the break will occur. We'll discuss when we come back. Before we go, I'd mentioned the Mojo 50 Gator thing. I'm just going to fly to that real quick, because I haven't pulled that up on here in ages. Mojo50.com/shop. And I should be checking it on a regular, damn it. I work here. Here we go. Where's the shop? Let's go to the shop. Shop, shop, shop all day long. Shop, shop, shop while I sing this song. Gonna shop at Mojo, gonna buy some stuff. Gonna pick up a mask so I look tough. Anyway. Featured products like the Mojo 50 Gadsden Gator. Probably going to get that because the Gadsden's a big deal. I got one outside of my house. Logo neck gator. $19.99. That's a good price. It's a good price. We also got some awesome t-shirts on here. We also have KBMD CBD oil. That's always available on there on mojo50.com. Check it out. Go to the shop at mojo50.com/shop. Get all your accessories, apparel, your shirts. You can get this guy right there. This is Mojo 50 Polo. I rather love this shirt. It's fantastic fabric and breathes very well. But that music means that we have to take our little break. We're going to be back. You're listening to the HoloNet on the mighty, the powerful Mojo 50 Radio. Stick around.
divisiveness of party or for dichotomy of thought, but for unity in principle. In the principles that founded our nation, that all men are created equal and are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Today, ladies and gentlemen, those principles are under the sternest attack that we have seen in many generations. It has become a crime in this nation nearly to express a difference in opinion from what is held by your party to be doctrine, from what is purported by the media to be truth. We have an opportunity to reach out to our fellow Americans regardless of their creed and regardless of their political inclinations, and unite as Americans, not as Republicans or as Democrats, as liberals or conservatives, but to unite around the principles that have guided this nation so well. I've covered a lot of stories, but the story that remains untold is the story of America in the 21st century, when we choose to turn back the tide against progressive socialism, when we choose to embrace the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence, and the Bill of Rights, when we remember what it is to be Americans. And that principle will not die as long as there's one man, one woman, one child who looks defiantly into the night and says, I am free.
On Mojo 50 Radio, the Millennial Conservative Resistance begins right here, right now.
Yes, we are back. You're listening to the Holonet on the mighty, the powerful Mojo 50 Radio. Thank you for staying with us through the break. Just there, you heard a little speech that I gave in front of the steps of the Arizona Capitol at Phoenix. This was in late 2006. Actually, I think it was July. Yes, it was July 2017, wasn't it? I'll have to double check. I think it was July 2017. It was a great gathering of many patriots, of many conservatives. Might have been 2016. I'll have to look. I'll post something in the notes. But I felt so full of hope that day. I looked out at the crowd and I saw smiling faces, and I've oft lamented the age discrepancy that we see on the conservative side of things and among Republicans and conservatives, and how any time I'd ever gone to a Republican committee meeting or a Republican Party meeting, I was usually the youngest person in the room by 30 friggin' years. You know, it's just a consequence of living in, the snowbird state. But I remember feeling this great calm, this great wave of hope. And unless you've met me in person, you might not know this. I'm a titch socially awkward. I am. I really, really am. I have terrible, terrible stage fright. Suffer from significant social anxiety. And I work in sales. I work in sales. I put myself on air once a week, video and all, even with my hair doing whatever the fuck it's doing. Yeah, like I said, you wouldn't know that unless you interacted with me directly. I'm a little awkward. But not that day. Not that day, no. That day, I had prepared remarks in my hand, a pad written down. And there were a lot of people there that I wanted to talk to and wanted to have a chance to rap with a little bit. You know, you had Dr. Kelly Ward was there. She had run against Senator John McCain and now is head of the Republican Party here in Arizona. I got a chance to talk to her. She was pretty cool. Number of people were there, a number of prominent Arizona Republicans and politicians, and just some great people, some great patriots. Jim Williams was there. If you don't know Jim, then you probably haven't run to too many Trump events here in Arizona. He's pretty much at all of them. But like I said, I just felt this wave of hope. And I abandoned my written remarks. I tossed them, literally. Threw them to the side of the podium. And I fired that off. It's very different from what I wrote. I don't even think I have my original notes. But it's what I felt at the time. And it's what I feel today. Despite some things I've said. Because I know that in the course of creating this show, creating the HoloNet, and everything I've written in the past 2 years, I have strayed from my course. I have strayed from the original goal of the HoloNet because, damn it, it doesn't seem like there's common ground to go to anymore. Does it? Does it? We can't seem to reach a fundamental agreement on reality with so many on the left. But I've seen stories this past week. I've seen Twitter posts, Instagram that have given me hope. And I was listening to Izzo yesterday, and they were talking about it too, talking about liberals getting red-pilled. Now, be it by QAnon or, digging into the conspiracy theories about the coronavirus and this, that, the other, whatever the cause, we're seeing long-time progressive liberals, people who were avowed socialists just a month ago, red-pilled. And it's because we kept trying. We kept talking. We kept posting. We kept presenting the information over and over and over and providing links and providing well-reasoned arguments, and not online, in person. Showing that you actually give a in person as a human being to another human being. And the one constant that I see is how warm and welcoming people on the right tend to be to someone who comes over. To someone who has that realization, who has that come to Jesus moment. Even if you're an atheist, it's still a come to Jesus moment, rhetorically speaking, where you have that awakening of a wisdom, where you understand. When you say to a person, if social distancing works, why do I need the mask? If the mask works, why do I need the social distance? When you say to someone, how come there wasn't all this trouble over the swine flu and the bird flu when far many more people caught it and far many more died? When people ask, when will the Rona be over? Well, we still have to deal with it in 2021. You reply no, because 2021's not an election year, and both of you nod, because in our hearts, we know. On both sides. There are certain truths that are inescapable. No matter what your ideological bent may be, you know. On a special level. On a level in your soul. Because the human soul, the spirit, craves truth. And we're drawn to it. So when I hear about people getting red-pilled on the left, or even moderates on the center getting red-pilled and coming on over, maybe they don't come over fully. That's okay. But you find something, you seize on it, you grab it, and you hold it. That one thing that you can agree on. That one damn thing. And if you can do that, if you can just hold that ground, if you can hold that line against the night, then there's something that can prevent this. America's new Civil War. Or the Civil War II. Or whatever you want to call it. If you want to call it Civil War II, the Electric Boogaloo. If you want to call it the Boog, the Big Igloo. The Big Luau. Had to switch from coffee to something a little stronger. Tullamore Dew Whiskey, hashtag not a sponsor. If we can find something, some way to connect, a way to build a bridge back. They don't have to agree with you about everything. They don't have to agree with you even on some of the non-negotiables. They don't have to agree with you on abortion. They don't have to agree with you on illegal immigration per se. They don't have to agree with you on police reform. You know what you have to agree on? You know what you have to agree on? That the nation, the United States of America, is worth trying to save. That's it. That's the one damn thing. The one damn thing that we have to find the common ground on. That this experiment, launched in 1776, further perfected in 1789, 83? 1791, sorry. Further perfected in 1791 with the Bill of Rights. That this is worth trying to save. That there's value. That we don't need to throw the baby out with the bathwater. Because I want to let you know right here, right now, I'm saying it today, mark it on the calendar. July 18th, 2020. If a second Civil War, if the Civil War II, if it should come to pass, and if all our foes are lain before us, if the farmlands, the rural areas, the suburban areas rise up successfully, and if they battle the urban centers and strike down the progressives, if they tear Democrats down from every seat of power, if they're all locked up or sent away or lay bleeding at our feet, if we win in every way that a military victory can be achieved, if we achieve complete and total dominance for the next 500 years, we still lost. We still lost. Philosopher once said, I believe it may have been Machiavelli, possibly Sun Tzu, I have to check. Fairly sure it was Machiavelli, that war is merely politics by different means. If our argument is so flawed that we must resort to war, then we have failed. Then we have failed. If we prove unequal to the task of either convincing our countrymen and women of the validity and the value inherent in the existence of the United States, and of the Constitution and of the founding principles of our nation, then we have failed. And even should we win, we would still lose. Because at that point, the only way that the nation would be able to continue is under such authoritarian power, under such repression, that the victory will turn to defeat in our own hands. Because what do? Round them up? The second we do, we lost. Because we lost who we are. So I look at Portland. Like I said, I don't see that as the slippery slope. I don't see that as fascism. What worries me is going into the Civil War as a result of a presidential election, just like we did last time. Wherein, as I've described earlier, the National Popular Vote Interstate Compact can lead to a potential challenge to the results of the election. A plurality instead of a majority, causing President Trump to be reelected, could cause a challenge to the election. And for the first time in American history, a party refusing to concede could potentially cause it. But that doesn't mean that any of those have to cause it. And what concerns me, what truly and deeply concerns me, is you look at Prospect, you look at progressive.org, and you look at mainstream media sites, and you look at right-wing media sites, they're all saying the same thing. Prepare for the upcoming Civil War. We're in a Civil War. We're coming up on another Civil War. Does it feel like we're coming up on another Civil War? I was saying the same damn thing. Said it recently, too. Because I can't deny that it feels that way. Because the differences feel irreconcilable. Because each side views the other as an existential threat. The street. This is a story from 2012. 2012. How optimistic did things look in 2012, man? And we were already talking about this. This is a story that suggests breaking the United States into two nations. But it has an inherent flaw. Who moves? We can't even get Israel and the Palestinian Authority to agree on a partition, on a two-state solution. What makes you think that a two-state solution could ever exist in the United States? And if it did, the spirit of the United States would be lost. E pluribus unum. Out of many, one. A one-party system in a half a country is not a solution that retains America as it is, nor is a single-party system because the other side has been crushed a solution. No. No. I won't call for it. I won't support calls for it. And I don't see as anyone with a single godly bone in their body can. Gun-toting militia members of a black-only militia who protested at Stone Mountain. They said, carve us off a piece. Maybe a piece of Texas. I don't think that's going to work out. Forbes said Civil War 2.0, the Boogaloo movement, is a wake-up call for America. This is a lovely hit piece. But it does explain the Boogaloo scenario pretty well. It compares Boogaloo Boys, B-O-I-S, to Antifa. This is not how Civil War II starts. Some people have suggested Civil War II has already started. The Independent, the Second Civil War, is underway. Because John T. Bennett, in a shot-for-shot hit piece, gives the despicable implication that the Trump administration is using the coronavirus as a weapon against the urban centers deliberately, and that the rural denizens of our nation and the suburban are deliberately refusing to wear masks and social distance and obey the natural guidelines of the federal government because we want to get the cities infected. We want to infect people of color and minorities. That we're enacting some sort of Byzantine concept of biological warfare in a concerted fashion. When you write like this, you don't get to complain about Pizzagate anymore. When you very thinly imply that people on the right are deliberately trying to get the cities sick and kill off the urbanites of our nation with the coronavirus, in the first salvo of the new Civil War, I'm sorry. John T. Bennett, this might be the most piece of article I've ever read. And that's saying something. Because I've read The Guardian. What is more important now than ever, is pointing out the inconsistencies to our brothers and sisters on the left. No matter how far over the hill they've gone, no matter how much you can't stand the conversation, keep talking. Keep talking. Because it is incumbent upon us to save the United States of America. It is. It is. I previously talked about Joe Jorgensen and the Libertarian Party, and I really hope that they get their act together, because if they can actually make themselves a force for good, a viable alternative on the ballot, if there are conservatives out there and liberals, proto-libertarians, if you will, who feel that they cannot vote for either Biden or Trump, feel that one, the other, or both are existential threats to the United States of America, go for another option. Do it. Vote for Jo Jorgensen if you think she's the better solution. If you can't find Trump palatable, if you can't find Biden palatable, don't sit there with your thumb up your... Vote. It is more important now than ever in your life, because we're not voting for president now. We're not having political discourse to decide who runs this country for the next 4 years. We are not engaging in the political system for 4 more years of you and you harder. The game is now for keeps. It is 1991 in the Soviet Union in the United States today. Because all it will take for everything to come crashing down is for one party, one state or group of states to refuse to acknowledge the results of the presidential election. Then it's anybody's game. What happens after that? And China and Russia are waiting, licking their chops. They want it bad. They can taste it. You think Hong Kong was idle prattle? Bullshit. That was a trial run, baby. They're looking at Taiwan. If I was in Taipei right now, I would be shitting myself. Didn't bleep it because I want you to hear it. I would be shitting my pants if I lived in Taipei right now, watching the United States go straight to hell. Because we are the thin line between China and Taiwan. Right now, we have a string of ships that go through the Taiwan Strait every now and again, and that's the only damn thing stopping China right now. Russia, their trial run, they had two of them. Number one, they had Crimea, which they just up and ganked away from Ukraine. Then they did kind of a slow roll into Donetsk and Luhansk. How bad do you think good old Pooty Poot wants to get his hands on the rest of Ukraine? And now that he can be president for pretty much the rest of his life, if we're out of the ball game, what do you think is going to stop him? Europe? Britain? Turkey? No. Our mission from here forward on the HoloNet, and I believe it should be on Mojo 50 as well. I believe my fellow hosts will concur. It's not about making sure that Trump wins the White House, which of course I want him to. But we have a bigger mission, ladies and gentlemen. We have to prevent a civil war. The solution is the red pill. The solution is education, spiritual and mental. Hearts and minds, people. Hearts and minds. As long as one man, one woman, one child looks into the darkness and cries out defiantly into the night that I am free. And music means that's it for this week on the HoloNet. I'm your host, Matt Holloway. Operatives, you have your orders. Good night. God bless you. And God bless the United States of America. End transmission.